Coming up on ATV News, students on campus get ready for the 2024 presidential election next month. We hear from students about how they're casting their ballot.
And dining dollars are no longer accepted at 2 locations on campus. Stay tuned for student reactions to the change. All this and more coming up on ATV News. Welcome to ATV News. I'm Sean Memon.
And I'm Lydia Lopiccolo. Thanks for joining us. The 2024 election is quickly approaching with only 32 days remaining until the nation decides the next president. Students on college campuses need to make the plan on how to cast their ballot. Lily Becker reports on how AU students are planning to vote in November.
With the upcoming election just around the corner, college students are gearing up to make their voices heard. American University is continuing to provide students with the resources they need to cast their ballots, offering designated absentee ballot days to simplify requesting mail-in ballots. American University, like many institutions across the country, is witnessing a surge in political engagement among its students. In fact, a recent study by the Harvard Institute of Politics revealed that 42% of college students plan to vote by mail this election cycle, a significant increase from past years. As the election approaches, the question begins as to whether students will choose to vote in person in their hometown or opt for mail-in ballots. For freshman Sasha Dovkova, she's choosing to vote in person.
I'm voting in person because I'm doing it with my mom, because my mom can't vote, so I'm taking her for my first election. She's coming with me.
While many students prefer in-person voting for its empowering sense of community, mail-in ballots are still a popular choice for those juggling busy schedules. For students choosing to vote in person, several polling locations are conveniently located near the American University campus, including the Ward 3 Community Center and the Tenley Friendship Library. This accessibility makes it easier for students to participate in the election. Marley Reese, a sophomore at IU, is going to mail her ballot in.
I'm voting by mail-in ballot because I'm in college and out of my state.
For ATV News, I'm Lily Becker.
College students aren't the only Americans getting ready for the 2024 presidential election. Political tensions are high across the nation, and AU's campus is no different. The organizations AU College Republicans and AU College Democrats are hosting events leading up to the election to engage student voters. However, the tension on campus doesn't go unnoticed. President Joel Pritikin and Matthew Vingeau say they are no strangers to political discourse.
Yeah, we're definitely not the most loved, which I get. We're not inherently popular, which again, I get. We kind of stand for everything everyone stands against, or we stand against everything everyone stands for. Thank you. There are political tensions on campus. I've reached out to other clubs to do co-events. AU Dems, I wanted to do something with them. They haven't gotten back to me yet in a month.
I think the biggest thing was, I think it was last week or the week before, when our college Republican counterparts reposted the absurd lie that Haitian immigrants are eating people's dogs and cats. Not only is that stupid and false, it's also deeply hurtful.
In preparation for the election, the Sign Institute of Policy and Politics here at AU conducted a poll on young people's confidence in democracy and what their concerns were for the upcoming 2024 presidential election. Augusta Romanow reports on why polls matter and what young people are saying.
For the third year in a row, the Sign Institute of Policy and Politics conducted a national poll focused on young people's feelings on politics in the U.S. This year's poll found that there is an optimism gap in young people. While 75% of young people feel optimistic about their own future, only 47% of young people feel optimistic about the nation's future. Amy Dacey, the executive director of the Sign Institute, says that AU students helped to build and promote the poll from start to finish.
That got together with us, and what we did was they were involved in every part of the process. So whether we were designing the instrument and the poll, or we were doing analysis on the data, or they were helping us with the promotion and talking about what it was, that was a part of it.
And young people aren't just worried about politics and democracy impacting the country's future. They were also concerned about young people's well-being, both mentally and physically.
They mentioned mental health as one of a large thing that they thought would be one of the obstacles to get where they need to go.
Along with their annual polls, the Science Institute also holds events across campus to engage with the student body and DC residents. They help cover topics from the election, American dream, and internal White House politics. Nonetheless, DC hopes that this poll will allow students to be influenced enough to go out and vote.
And so we're really hoping that this poll could really influence people on campus, not only externally, but also internally, whether it's faculty, staff, or students engaged at AU.
For ATV News, I'm Augustus Romanow.
With the start of a new school year comes a new wave of students looking to be involved with student government. We spoke to a few aspiring student government members. AU student government elections are in full swing this year, and many are campaigning for a spot in office. SPA Senate candidate Jackson Taylor is surprised by the lack of participation of voting in AUSG elections and hopes to change that if he is elected.
So we are a school that is rooted in politics, rooted in public service, all this, voting, all these initiatives. And yet I believe something I heard at a Senate meeting when I had to attend one the last week was that I believe it is only 10% of the student body actually show out for our own student elections. So when we are a school that is rooted in politics, rooted in all this sort of stuff, you would expect that number to be higher.
Freshman Colin Duckett hopes to change who the student government caters to.
And I'm looking to bring a more student-centered perspective to the governance of AU and really putting the students at the forefront of what gets decided at the university. Since we are the primary stakeholders, we spend tens of thousands of dollars to come here. So it should be focused on the students rather than the interests of the administration.
Candidates have until October 4th to get the required paperwork and student support to be on the ballot. Voting opens on October 8th at noon. For ATV News, I'm Sean Memon.
AU comes in as the 91st best university in the nation. That's according to the latest rankings from U.S. News and World Reports. This ranking is a 14-spot rise from last year's release, which placed the university at 105. Along with being in the top 100 for national universities, AU was ranked as having the 4th best study abroad program, a 2-rank drop from last year.
Last spring, the terrace dining room shut down for a majority of the semester. The dining area was temporarily moved to the first level of the Mary Graydon Center and operated on a limited scale. When students returned for the fall 2024 semester, they found that TDR had been renovated and upgraded as promised. In addition to a more roundabout design and more expansive layout, AU has also introduced the Dining Advisory Board, or DAB. AU Junior Sumaya Aliadumi says that the Student Dining Board is a great addition to the university.
I think by having more student representation with administration, it would do a lot of good. It's like student government. It gives us an option to have a say in something with the school.
According to its mission statement, the Dining Board partnered with AU Kitchen to improve the dining experience by offering feedback on food quality, service, health options, and events with the Dining Board. Will also be completed by the student-run board. The board will elect 8 to 10 members each year. Students can apply now on the DAB website.
2 of AU's most popular coffee shops no longer take dining dollars, starting this semester. Mina Odell reports on how customers and employees feel about this new change.
In accordance with the new policies starting this semester, both the Davenport Coffee Lounge and the Bridge will no longer be accepting dining dollars. Both coffee shops have made it clear to their customers that this was not their decision, with signs posted at the door. Many students, however, say that they're disappointed by this change.
I feel that way, but I feel like they're not really considering students who maybe are relying a lot on their dining dollars and are relying a lot on their meals and stuff like that. So I feel like it's just kind of inconsiderate.
Okay, I didn't know that they didn't until they stopped. So, I don't know, I was like, can I say this on TV? I'm just pissed about it for a little bit.
The new policy is not just impacting regulars, but student employees are seeing changes in their payment as well.
I know both DAB and Bridge employees
don't really like the policy, and I know customers aren't satisfied with it either.
Why don't you guys like the policy?
It just limits just our methods of payment. So some people come in, they're like, okay, well I don't have another way to pay.
However, if other places around campus like Subway, Halal Shack, and even coffee shops like Starbucks take dining dollars, students are wondering, why shouldn't the DAV and the Bridge? AU dining officials have also recently said the policy may be revisited in the future based on feedback from the AU community.
So I think it would just be more convenient if we accepted dining dollars.
For ATV News, I'm Mina Odell.
Some students are joining AU janitors to fight for fair wages and benefits from their parent company, Aramark. Knudson reports on the ways students are supporting the movement.
Even though the semester at AU just began, students are already actively protesting and advocating for the janitorial staff. According to the Young Democratic Socialists of America at AU, the university janitorial staff have been in negotiations with their parent company, Aramark. YDSA's co-president, Owen Campherdam, says the students protested on AU campus in an attempt to put pressure on the university to stand behind the janitors in their bargaining.
We were hoping that they would agree to the terms of the contract that the janitors were asking for. They were asking for wages was the big thing they were asking, and that's one of the things they got with the contract, I'm happy to say.
Just recently, Aramark approved the proposed contract. ATV News reached out to them for comment, and they said, quote, "We respect the right of our employees to demonstrate. We are happy to share that we have bargained in good faith with the union and have reached a tentative agreement for a successor collective bargaining agreement." End quote. The protests came amid similar protests in Philadelphia, where Aramark is based. More information can be found under YDSA's Instagram page.
Individually, students can't do a lot, but together, there is a whole lot of leverage that lies in the hands of the students. But it's only really there when we organize, when we put all of us together, we can actualize, the weight that we hold in this community and make things better for everybody. So I ask people to, show up for your community when they're asking for it, and we'll show up for you.
For ATV News, I'm Ellie Knudson.
Coming up, AU's Board of Trustees is deciding whether police officers should be armed on campus. We'll hear from some community members.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies. Because when people are fed, futures are nourished. Everyone deserves to live a full life. And with your help, together we can end hunger. Join the movement at feedingamerica.org/actnow.
Welcome back to ATV News. AU will consider a new policy that would arm American University Police Department. Ashley Totten has the story.
Is it uncomfortable because they're armed, or am I uncomfortable because they feel they need to be armed?
A debate is surging across campus as to whether AU's police department should be armed.
I don't feel nervous at all today visiting the campus, but having armed police wouldn't make me feel more or less nervous.
AU administration hosted 2 open forums where the AUPD and experts in the field could talk to students about the potential policy. Joey Katzenell, event coordinator for March for Our Lives, and other student activists are concerned about how arming the AU police officers would affect students' trust in the AUPD.
People already don't really trust AUPD, but if they were to arm AUPD, it would break any remaining trust there is.
According to AU Chief Financial Officer Bronte Burley-Jones, a member of the Board of Trustees raised a question as to whether American University would be prepared in case of a threat. When asked which board member raised this question, she offered no comment. Since then, students and faculty have been debating whether the policy is a good idea.
I don't think it's as big of a deal as people are making it. I think a lot of people are pretty upset about it, though.
If AUPD was armed, I personally would feel more uncomfortable around them.
March for Our Lives has a petition on change.org to stop the policy from being implemented. The petition has over 400 signatures. The university has not implemented any policy about arming their officers. The final decision is up to the Board of Trustees. Ashley Totten, ATV News.
There's some exciting news for music fans at AU. Flo Milli is coming to campus October 24th for an exclusive concert. For $10, AU students can spend the night in Bender Arena with the Billboard charting rapper. AU in Motion will be opening the concert with a special routine choreographed by AU senior Shania Parker. Tickets are on sale for students starting today.
Are going to be attending the concert compared to like our regular shows because it's in Bender Arena, so in my mind I'm thinking about like the whole arena being just filled with students, so that kind of just makes me a little bit nervous, but I do have trust in my dancers in order to pull off a great performance.
Following news that the second floor of Mary Graydon Center would be closed for renovations, AU's radio station WVAU leadership learned that they would be without a home to host their shows. Without a lot of time to prepare, the team worked to move all their equipment to a new and much smaller location in the Media Production Center behind the freshman dorms. WVAU member Thomas Weaverling says it's been hard to adjust to the new space.
The Media Production Center, which you're familiar with, but it's like it just feels a little more like distant and isolated than it was before.
The renovations are not just affecting the radio station, but other student media organizations with offices on the second floor of MGC. Those organizations include the Eagle, AWOL, and ATV. All of those organizations have been relocated to different areas on campus. Despite the changes, WVAU continues to host its radio shows from 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. every day. You can listen by visiting them on Instagram or at WVAU.com. AU's community garden was relocated from behind Bender Arena to a spot near the Katzen Art Center this past spring. The move was due to the university's plan to build a new student thriving complex. While club leadership says it's been difficult to adjust to the new location, they also say that they're glad a safe space has space to flourish. Just in the new home, the community garden focuses on growing food, sustainability, and working together collectively.
I think the community garden is a really cool place where students can spend time together, and it's beautiful. Living in a city, we don't always get this gardening feel, so yeah, I think it's a really nice place.
AU recently released its annual safety report. ATV's Jacob Clark is here with us in the studio to tell us the highlights. What do university officials have to say, Jacob?
Thank you, Sean. As we enter the new school year, it's important to remember the security and safety measures for students on campus. The 2024 Annual Security Report found that American University is in one of Washington, D.C.'s safest areas. In Ward 3, where AU is located, there have only been 17 reported violent and property crimes since August 1st, a significant decrease from years prior. However, it's important to stay vigilant. AUPD now offers free self-defense classes for students, and the school has also implemented the Rave Guardian app, a service that transforms your phone into a mobile panic button if you need help. Remember, stay alert, stay updated, and never be afraid to ask for help. Jacob Clark, ATV News.
Since new AU President Jonathan Alger's arrival, he's begun several initiatives, including the Civic Life. The initiative hopes to educate the AU community by providing opportunities for students to interact with school centers and programs, including the Sine Institute of Policy and Politics and AU Votes. Professor Tom Merrill is the chair of the Civic Life Steering Committee. The committee is made up of faculty and staff from SIS to the Athletics Division. Merrill says the committee's role in the initiative is to facilitate programming.
We think that members of the AU community, as well as human beings generally, need to spend time practicing those skills of talking to people you disagree with and reflecting on yourself and saying, why do I think these things? Maybe I'm wrong about this thing or that thing. We just think that's a tremendously powerful thing for anyone, and that only universities do it. Political parties don't do it. The media doesn't do it. Universities do it. That's what we're trying to bring to the table.
Applications are now open for the Civic Life Fellows program. The opportunity is for students who want a more active and hands-on role in the initiative. Students who are accepted will take special classes to train and will eventually partner with committee members to lead topical open seminars in the spring. The application is open through Friday, October 11th.
Coming up next, hockey season has begun at AU. We'll tell you about this year's team.
I felt accomplished after I got my diploma. Made me feel that I could take on whatever challenges life throws at you.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Welcome back to ATV News. AU Fall sports are off to a strong start. Let's head over to Barbosa for the Sports Zone for some updates on sports standings so far this semester.
Yeah, that's right, Lydia. AU is gearing up for an exciting semester of sports. The swim and dive team started its season off with a splash last weekend at their annual Potomac Relay Invitational. The team faced off against 6 local schools, making the meet the biggest for the program in a decade. The Eagles took home the win with 468 points, just 18 points ahead of rival George Mason. The team heads to Baltimore this weekend for its next meet against UMBC. The women's field hockey team had a busy weekend as well, first hitting the pitch in Pennsylvania to play Lafayette College before heading to Philadelphia for a match against the University of Pennsylvania. The Eagles took back-to-back shutouts, winning both games 1-0. The team looks to extend its 2-win streak Saturday against Colgate on the Eagles' home turf. And on the court, the women's volleyball team beat Holy Cross in a 3-set sweep. Freshman outside hitter Zaydo Yilmaz had a record-breaking 20 kills, tying for the most kills in a 3-set match in the Patriot League this season. The Eagles hope to keep this momentum going with 2 home games this weekend, playing Bucknell tonight and Lafayette tomorrow. The cross-country team is holding a meet today at East Carolina University. Looking ahead, the women's soccer team plays Lafayette this weekend with a Saturday match. The men's soccer team also has a match tomorrow, heading to New York to play Army. That's all for varsity sports. Back to you guys.
The AU ice hockey team had its opening game last week, and while a lot of changes have been made since last season, the team is as energetic as ever. Abrahamson has more.
The AU ice hockey team is skating into a season of change. To help guide this new generation is former player-turned-coach Connor Kane.
It's a lot more pressure off the ice, I feel like, than on the ice. So just getting used to having a leadership role that's a little bit more behind the scenes and just preparing them for a game and then letting them do what they need to do. Everybody's been super dedicated at practice. Everybody's really melded together nicely.
The younger members are truly driving this team forward. In fact, the 2024 president and acting captain for the home opener is sophomore Miles Frasca.
I'm feeling great. We have a really deep roster, biggest team we've had in a bunch of years for the program, and we're just excited. I think the freshmen bring, I'm pretty young myself, but I think they bring a good youth to the team.
Just having a younger team in general is so great because that means that AU hockey has 4 more years left at least. We've sort of been integrated so well that I'm not sure who's a freshman and who's like a returning player, which I think is really great about this team.
We've really just latched on to some of the older players as well and really just followed their lead and brought new energy to kind of really helping change the culture of the team.
However, not everything has been as smooth as the ice they skate on.
I had like a rough first month of school because like transitioning from like my really rural town to big city DC was rough, and being able to play in like get back into the sport I love was really helpful.
While they lost their home opener, the additions to the team means that AU's hockey program is stronger than ever. For ATV News, I'm Ryan Abrahamson.
Turning to weather, let's take a look at the weekend forecast. We're starting off this weekend with some cloudy skies on Friday. Expect highs in the upper 70s and lows in the mid 60s. Be prepared for more of the same on Saturday, but some cooler nighttime temperatures around the mid 50s. Sunday will have full sunshine and a high almost at 80, which will make the which will make for DC's first sunny day in a while. Expect the sunshine to follow us through the week, with Monday's continued highs in the 70s. Finally, Tuesday will be another sunny DC day, but with a steeper drop off later in the evening around 50 degrees. Enjoy the weather this week and soak up the sun while it lasts. That's all for us today. I'm Lydia Lopiccolo.
And I'm Sean Memon. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in November for our next broadcast.